Thank you for joining us. This is Live with Miami's Community News, and our special guest today, we're going to start over here. Introduce yourself.
Good afternoon. My name is Jose Gonzalez. I'm a reservist with the U.S. Navy, and I also work for the Mexican American Council.
The MAC down there?
Yes.
Okay. And you, sir?
My name is Aguste. I am a U.S. Army veteran.
Okay.
My name is Edwin Vasco, and I am the event lead for the Military Vet Expo and also United States Marine Corps veteran.
Thank you, gentlemen, for protecting us. Let's talk about the Military Vet Expo. Let's talk about the importance of it, a little history, and where it's at today, and who participates in it, and how we can help you get what you'd like to get done.
Yeah, definitely, Michael. The Military Vet Expo was born out of an idea that actually Derek was a participant in. Last year through the Miami Foundation, we were brought in to do a veteran leadership cohort. And while we were in the cohort, we realized that a lot of the resources for veterans are already in existence in the community, but there's a disconnect between the resource and the military and the veteran community. So we decided to create an expo to bring those resources in an intentional manner that kind of bridges that gap. So the expo exists as an event that will provide resources to the veterans either day of or shortly thereafter.
And it's to help them become aware of the services that are there.
Correct. Is it to help them become aware of the services that exist for them already, number one, and number two, to also have those community partners or those resources be spotlighted out in the community.
Years ago, when the pandemic was around, that CHI, you remember this, they got in those buses or those trucks, those vans, they went down to the neighborhoods that needed people and needed the COVID shots. And that the people either were afraid or didn't have transportation or they are unaware of that service. So we understand how important that is to take it out to the service, be able to tell the scoop. So Derek, tell us your involvement in this.
Yeah, so I am a community partner. My role essentially is, as Edwin talked about, have a resource, but don't necessarily have a good way of communicating that we're here, that we're available to help. And so going through that leadership cohort with Edwin, we're a room full of service providers with no providers, like no people to serve because it was so difficult to get the message out there that we're here, we're available, we're ready. So the idea born out of bring the partners to the community, have them be there, be available, and then oftentimes take care of things right on the spot and not wait, and hand out flyers. We're not there to just hand out flyers. We're there to make sure that if we provide a service, that we're actually executing on that service there on the spot.
And so those providers that are there, this could be sometimes maybe the only time they've been around other providers. So there certainly is a camaraderie that is formed with that. So why don't you tell us about your involvement with this?
So I was a participant, and I'm a big-time advocate for anything that involves the military. For me, I met Edwin during grad school, and I had a lot of questions as I was trying to navigate my military career. Is being in the reserves, it's kind of different than the active duty component. And I had an injury, so he immediately answered a couple of questions, and I already saw that there was an opportunity for me to go out and seek more of that information. Once I got there, I also had just finished my master's, and I really wanted to continue to pursue my education. I wanted to earn a doctorate, so I had no idea. Sometimes you don't get a lot of information in the reserve side as you do in the active duty side. So while I was there, one of the gentlemen that was there was able to provide me to create a login and access my account so I can verify my GI Bill and know exactly what percentage I had left. So that way I can go ahead and continue that.
While you were there. And to your point, is when somebody's there, that's your time.
That's
it. If they're there, if you let them escape without anything, that might be the last time that they might show up.
Even if they're there for just one thing, it's just from start to finish, he was able to walk me through. And sometimes you just, hey, you need to go over there, you need to go do this. And that's how the military works. And you got to figure it out on your own. With them, I had somebody that was designated to help me and stay with me until they saw that it was done to completion. And I appreciate that.
So a couple of years ago, there was a lot of bad public relations as far as the VA hospitals. It seemed that bad stuff that seemed to be happening doesn't get the kind of publicity, negative albeit, all right, that it's not, it doesn't seem to be that kind of problem anymore, but you would probably know best.
So the VA is a government entity, and because it's a government entity, they're less flexible than nonprofits or smaller programs that exist, right? And that is where the Expo comes in, kind of to fill those spaces, right? Because there is a flexibility, there is an opportunity for, a Derek to say, well, we're going to help this veteran through completion and figure out exactly what he needs without having to go through all of the red tape of the government. The VA is a phenomenal system that we have in place to help out military and veterans, but it just doesn't give. There's a lot of red tape to cut through in order to do some of the resources that are needed, and I feel like we are lucky enough that there's a lot of people that want to help veterans. And the conversations that are always had is, how can I help? Well, the Expo is a place for that to be answered,
This was just the anniversary of Hurricane Andrew a couple of months ago, and there are a lot of people that suffered through that. And I think it's important for people to understand, because some people may think that wasn't traumatic. It doesn't mean it wasn't for them. Mm-hmm. And so when you're in the service, just because other people want to say, oh, you're nothing, what I went through was more. But the emotional impact, you can't say because it was this that they didn't suffer, through that. And you mentioned that you were a provider, so tell us about that.
Yeah, so one of the things that we provide is education support. As Jose mentioned, right, like a lot of veterans don't understand how to access their education benefits, or they're attending school and they don't have someone they could talk to kind of explain to them how the process works to get their benefits while they're in school. And so we were there basically to say, what is that you want to do? And here are the options that you have available to you to accomplish that thing. I'm not here to tell anybody what to study. I'm not here to tell anybody what to go after. My job is to make sure that they're set up for success. And so, and there's some different things that we have to talk about, right? Do you have solid transportation? Are you looking to go to school year round? Those are some different conversations, because that ultimately lends to like which institution might be the best fit for your needs. And then being able to be available to have, students walk up, right, and say, hey, I haven't been able to come to the office and see you, right, but I'm here and I have this problem. Then we're able to help them on the spot with some of our folks.
So some of those veterans, they may not have anybody else to talk to.
Correct.
And because you understand where they could be and where they want to be and be able to provide access to them.
Yeah, I mean, when I got out of the military 10 years ago, it was an interesting transition, to say the least. And I struggled. I struggled mightily, trying to get back into school and figuring that whole thing out. Luckily, I bumped into Edwin shortly after, about 6 months after getting out of the military. He really helped me get on the straight and narrow, and then meeting people in the community that, again, like Edwin said, I have yet to meet anybody in Miami that says, oh, I don't care about veterans or I don't help veterans. Like, I have yet to see that, experience that point blank period. It's always answered with, how do I help? Where do I help? Where's the need? And now the Expo is a place for folks to actually see a place, a destination, whether it's time, treasure, talent, there's a place to go and execute that passion to serve.
They must feel really good when they go down there and they see you guys there and all the vendors that are there. So, Edwin, tell us what type of vendors are there providing services?
So we have, I guess, tiers, or I wouldn't say tiers, but it's more different services, from benefits assistance is huge, educational resource, financial education. We have physical health and wellness. We have what we call auxiliary services, which encompass a lot of recreation or family support. We have women's services. We also have, what else do we have? Career development. Yeah. So the resources are chosen with, there's a method behind the madness, right? So the way that the Expo works is somebody registers and then they answer a questionnaire. And in this questionnaire is it tells them like, what is it that you're looking for? So based on that information, we start reaching out to different community resources, say, hey, we have so many people that are interested in benefits. We have so many people that are interested in mental health services. And then when it comes down to it, the day of the expo, the military member or the veteran or their family come to the expo, they receive a piece of paper with their name on it that says, hey, you asked for recreational services, you're gonna go speak to Tabitha Aragon at the Miami VA. You asked for benefits assistance, you're gonna speak to Veterans Esquire at this time, et cetera, et cetera. So we're very intentional, making sure that their time is valuable and they're not going around table to table to table, just getting information and not being actually
Sort of like
impacted.
at the home show, just throw the stuff in the back. So Jose, at some point you were not involved in it. What caused you to become more involved with this?
So anything that involves veterans, I want to get involved in. Like as you said, is how can I help? Whether it's time, resources, or talent. Edwin's a great friend, and I saw a need and an opportunity for me to get involved in such like this, because these are my shipmates. These are people we're the 1% who serve, and if I could do something good for them, and also find out information for myself, I can showcase that how this has helped me and how this can help other veterans as well. I think this is also a great opportunity for other veterans to meet other veterans and speak and talk about. Immediately when you meet another veteran, you connect immediately because you know the story, you know what it's like to be in that life. And sometimes it's hard for some people who are on the civilian side to know how to broach those topics.
When we do some shows with policemen, and most of them are so proud of the service to the community. And sometimes I'll get it wrong. Michael, it was 38 years, not 28 years. I retired as a captain, not as a lieutenant. And, okay, but I see that connection when there's two policemen standing next to each other. It's more likely to happen to me, because if you're a veteran, I don't know unless you particularly tell me. So, why did you get involved in this?
My transition was rough. My transition out of the military was not a good time. Like Derek said, you have those situations. I was one of those people that didn't speak to anybody when I got out of the military. I didn't know about benefits. I didn't know where to go. My path, I was lucky enough that I went to the VA one day and somebody asked me, like, are you getting your benefits in order? And I said, I don't even know what benefits are. And he's like, come here, dog, I'm going to square you away. Right? So it took about 7 years for me to actually go from Marine Corps knucklehead to actually somebody that's able to provide and serve their community. And my passion is to make sure that that time frame shrinks for every generation after me. There's no need for it to be that long. The resources exist, and it's just a matter of providing them to the veterans and have them the opportunity to understand that they own their future, that it's on them to use these resources to be able to reintegrate better.
Do you remember the gentleman or lady that said, here, come with me, I'm going to help you out?
Yes. I'm never going to
remember their name?
Michael. It was actually...
So you never know when that's going to happen in your life. So here's this guy happy. I used to think it was just be coincidental. It's not coincidental that you happen to run into this gentleman, and what a difference it made in your life. That's what it sounds like. Mm-hmm. And did you find that as well?
I did. Well, Edwin was one of them for sure, in terms of getting me on the straight and narrow. But there was I happened to go to a meeting one morning, and they were announcing this new nonprofit that was getting stood up, and the director of that nonprofit was there, and it was for veterans. And so I went to introduce myself. I really didn't think anything of it. Just say, hey, I'm here. I'm in the community. If I can help. Well, about a month or so later, I was calling him for help, and he definitely motivated me to get my act together and straighten up and get back into school.
He wouldn't yell at you like a drill sergeant.
Oh, well, yes, he would. Yes, he would.
Bit of tough love.
Yeah, it's tough love. But I think for me, I needed that, right? I was used to direct communication. Here's the mission, execute it, come back with results. And I was like, okay, I can do that. And that's what he provided me. He provided that comfort because, like you said, there's a certain language, there's a certain culture that we have in the military. And for me, my whole network was the military. I got out and I didn't really have anybody that I could lean on and rely on and talk to that understood what I was going through and could provide that guidance. And when I met him, oh man, it was just like a fire got lit again. And I just remember just being, that feeling of not letting down your commanding officer, not letting down your fellow service member, that feeling of, okay, I got to take care of this because the mission will not fail. And he saved not only my house, he saved my marriage, he saved me. And that's something that I'm forever in his debt to.
What was his first name?
Brian.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, your turn.
Well, you have them right here, right in front of you. I've got the opportunity to meet both of them, and they've been very instrumental in helping me in various ways. Derek is also part of the University of Miami Young Alumni Leaders Council, and I met Edwin during grad school. I was taking my very last class, and I got to meet him. We had about 2 other veterans in the course, and I remember we got to share a lot. It was a leadership course, and we got to share a lot of our leadership within the military, and I've had a lot of experience in the civilian sector as well. So it was interesting conversations, and we had a lot that we could add value to the course and got to know each other a little bit better. And as I mentioned, it's always great to meet another service member because it's a particular language that we speak only, and people understand. And especially if you say, hey, I've been here, I'm like, oh, I was also deployed there. It's just instantly right on the spot that you just connect with these individuals and they become long life friends.
So for each of you, it's a recovery process. And it's like, okay, I'm here, and I got to figure out the right dynamics of all this. So when somebody new comes to you, and you have this vision for them, how do you get them to open up so that you two can pay back and to share with them what you experience?
Direct communication. I ask them. I tell them straight up, I'm going to ask you some questions that might seem invasive, but it's really for me to understand how best to help you. So, what's your living situation like? What's your transportation situation like? Are you seeking mental health? Do you have someone that you're comfortable talking to about those things? Are you getting the proper medical care that you need? What activities are you doing outside of your home? Do you have friends? Do you have people that you can count on? Do you have other veterans that you can hang out with? And going through that conversation then allows me to say, okay, well, hey, there's this event that's happening that I want to see you there. Not, will you come? No, I want to see you there. And I'm going to be there, so I'm expecting to be there. Because one of the things that was ingrained in me is when you're expected to show up, you show up. Right? When there's an expectation. So I'll never forget Edwin. He would always say to me, I'll see you at the next event. And it just, he would. He would see me at the next event because there's no way that, he's expecting me there and I wouldn't show up just because of his expectations. So I pass that forward. Anytime I meet a new military member, it's always that I expect to see you there. And it's not an ask, it's more of a directive. And that's because of how I, responded to that feedback. And again, showing up is half the battle. And so, but sometimes, especially for some of us who fell into a trap of isolation and thinking that we can't navigate or operate in the civilian world, civilians don't understand us, right? It's saying, no, there'll be other veterans there. Show up, we got you. And then you see folks that show up consistently, and it's so incredible to watch them go through the process. And I think for me, it's rewarding because they're not doing it alone.
And when they're going through the process, do they know they're actually going through the process and that the step is going to lead to the next step, et cetera?
There's a moment that it clicks. And I think part of that is when the pack gets lighter, right? Because when you first start your reintegration, you don't know that you're going through it. A lot of times you don't know that there's something wrong, that things could be better. No, this is the way it is. And then somebody starts talking to you, or somebody exposes you to different resources, opportunities, etc. You start becoming engaged, and then little by little, life just starts getting a little bit better.
Yeah.
And then at some point, there's a conversation that's had that kind of, I guess, gives you that oh man, like I've been doing all of this work, and look at where I'm at now, and maybe I will continue down this path and share some of this information so others can go through this. You know what I mean? But there is a moment where it clicks a little bit, where you realize I am doing the work.
So what was it like for you, Jose?
I think you just, Derek just alluded to that a while back ago when he talks about when it starts getting better, you want to make it better for the next person to come. I did have a little stint where I did active duty, and when I got out of that, and this happens for other service members, is that as they transition, they lose that utility. They're no longer doing that job. They no longer have that brotherhood because there's no longer with those service members. So I think this is a great place for you to come in and meet other people, like-minded individuals who have shared the sacrifices that you've made. And even there's other activities that they provide. There's a lot of organizations that lend their resources to have events for veterans to unite and get together and talk and, feel like there's that sense of belonging there. There's, to have that camaraderie once again. And it gives us purpose. It gives us, we unite and we're stronger. I think that's the most important part.
So this is way more than somebody just showing up for an expo. This is way bigger picture.
Yes.
All right. So tell us about that.
So what Jose was just mentioning, and this is my personal opinion, right? But usually what happens when you get out of the military, you lose a sense of purpose in the terms of feeling like you're doing something that's bigger than yourself, or that you're part of something that's bigger than yourself, number one. And number two, everything in the military is based on teams, small unit leadership, like situations that put you to work with other folks. When you get out of the military, you get out on your own with a piece of paper that says, thank you for, you served, use this in order to get all of your information that you need moving forward, et cetera, et cetera. Unless you have a really, really good system in place, then you're going to go through a transition process. And the idea behind anything that we do here as a whole is to be able to create a little bit of sense of community, because people share with each other and talk to each other and say like, hey, I understand what you're going through. You're not here alone. This and this made work for me. This might not work for you, but I want you to understand that X and Y resource exists. If not, this exists. And when Jose talks about service providers that are willing to lend their time or their space, the idea behind it is to build that camaraderie again, to build that community again, to have people interact with each other. That being said, I do want to be very frank and very intentional that part of the work isn't just building community with other veterans or with other military members. Part of the work is building community as a whole, being part of the community. One of the things that Derek spoke about was, sometimes veterans feel like they're not understood. You're always gonna hear me, if somebody tells me that, you're always gonna hear me tell them, are you talking? Because nobody's gonna understand you if you're not telling your story, right? They might not be in your shoes, but part of your story is what's gonna help another veteran speak up, another service member speak up. So we have to be intentional with how we approach the reintegration process, and we also have to be intentional with what you were talking about earlier in terms of the community providers. We have to be intentional that they're working with each other, not just coming to the expo. So they're working with each other to be able to create a seamless integration system where if Derek has a veteran that needs something that's outside of his scope, he knows exactly who to talk to in order to make that warm handoff, and then the military member or the veteran are in a path to success because everybody has their arms wrapped around them.
And the providers that are there, at some point they must realize this is a bigger issue other than them just have this thing for somebody to fill out. That's the beginning of their recovering, which is we're all recovering from something.
Yeah.
Right.
So tell us about that. With the vendors that are there, do they understand it's this much bigger picture?
I think everybody just does. Anybody who's there is just wanting to lend a hand and give back to those who've given so much to this country. And I think that's the most important part. When you have all these people who want to just get involved because they find whether it's providing a sponsorship, whether it's providing their time, the resources, whatever it is, it's just a bigger thing that goes beyond them.
I think, excuse me, I think as well, what's unique about Miami, and it might be this case in some other cities, but what's really unique about Miami is that everybody is comfortable playing in the same sandbox, right? We're not competing against each other. The mission is taking care of veterans wherever they're at, meeting them wherever they're at, their family members, those who are actively serving, and all the providers that are showing up. You wouldn't be in that room unless you were comfortable sharing your resources and connecting people to other resources, and just be okay with that, right? Understand that this is not a competition, right? We're not competing, on who to help more, right? We're just there to help, and it doesn't matter if I'm doing it. Doesn't matter if Edwin's doing it. It doesn't matter who's doing it, as long as the person is receiving the support that they need to succeed in life.
And for you, the veterans that have been around for a while, sometimes it's hard, and even at those events, to be navigating themselves. So, are you able to go with some of these veterans? Say, here, come over here. Here's some people. Yeah.
So Edwin has done a good job of getting volunteers to usher and be folks to kind of help veterans kind of navigate around the space. Again, we have to appreciate that there are some folks who do have some concerns or limitations to being able to interact comfortably. And that's where we try to make sure that we emphasize that this is a veteran space, right? There are veterans. We all understand what it is. All the exits are being watched, so you don't have to keep your head on a swivel.
The EAP.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to keep your head on a swivel. You can come in here. You can kind of let that guard down a little bit. We got folks, protecting all the areas, so you don't have to worry about someone coming in the door or something like that. And then again, right, having that person kind of walk you through the process and be by your side, it starts at the very beginning. Yeah. So that's what's really special about what Edwin has put together and provided.
You said at the beginning. So tell us about the event and how long it's been since it started.
So the event started last year. We did the first Expo last year.
Yep.
And it was very successful, even though we had a hurricane warning a few days before. The event was very successful. It was well attended. People were very excited to be there. What I can tell you is what I remember after the event. And the reason why I say this is because the feedback that we received after the event was, this was great. I got X, Y, and Z taken care of, and that's exactly what I needed. I got my benefits taken care of, and that's exactly what I wanted. I connected with mental health resources. That's exactly what I was looking for. I connected with community, educational development, and that's exactly what I was looking for. Edwin, 6 months later, I just got my 100%, and that was with the people from the Expo. You know what I mean? So that is the type of feedback that tells us that we're in the right path, that we're in the right place, and that the people that are with us are the right providers.
So you want to do a shout out for some of your providers? You're not going to get all of them, I understand that. All right, it's a bunch of them.
No, there's a lot, but I can't start naming one by one. But I will say that I am extremely grateful for those who have helped the military community in the past, those that continue to do so, and those that do so, that are going to do so in the future. I know for a fact that I wouldn't be here today without that type of assistance, and a lot of us wouldn't be here in a place where we can give back if it wasn't for them.
Typically, there are a lot of people that don't get involved in giving back until they're 48 to 65, but you guys, well, almost everybody is way younger than that.
Way below the 48.
So, when is that event coming up?
It's October 11th. It's from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So that's this Saturday coming up. And we still have registrations open at militaryvetexpo.org.
Hold on a sec. You got that, Anzoni? Yeah. Okay. We're going to put that up on the website, right?
We still have registrations open at militaryvetexpo.org. We're very excited to see you there. Come out, bring your family. Understand that this is an opportunity for you to not only get resources that you need, but learn about resources that you might not know. Sometimes I've been in situations where I get someplace and I'm like, man, I didn't know I needed this, or I didn't know I wanted this.
Yeah. And it's centrally located. It's at University of Miami Coral Gable campus. So
The
So
Lakeside
you can
Village.
take the train over there, you can take the bus over there, you can drive over there. Parking is free, lunch is provided. Everything is free. We make it as seamless as possible for people to get there and reutilize the resources. And when it comes to the resources as well, the community partners, everything is free on there, and nobody has to pay for a table or anything. We don't want to stand in the way of somebody providing a resource to a military or veteran.
You know, we know so often if the list is too long, sometimes people get overwhelmed. So I know you guys just give it to them a little bit at a time so they'll be able to accomplish it. And that's the way life is sometimes. So anyway, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your years of service and for protecting us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you for your
Appreciate
support.
All right.
Appreciate it.
And is there somebody you'd like to give a shout out to and to thank somebody?
I like to thank Mr. Brian Lynch. I'll call his name out. He's the one that put the boots in my chest when I needed it, and I'm sitting here today in the position that I am because he wasn't afraid to tell me how I needed to hear it.
Okay.
Listen, I want to thank. Because of the event, because of everything, I want to thank our sponsors and the people that have made this possible. The Miami Foundation has been an integral part of making this happen. Ram Construction Management, Early Hero, and they have been phenomenal in terms of their support, their desire to help out the Expo, their continued service to the community. So just grateful for that.
Wonderful.
First and foremost, I'd like to give a shout out to these two guys for allowing me to get more hands-on involved, and Master Chief Sweeney and Senior Chief Arroyo for just being one of my biggest mentors in my career.
Wonderful.
Oh, I do have two more people that I gotta thank.
Okay.
That I'd be remiss if I don't. Tabitha Aragon, Recreational Therapy, Miami VA, absolutely phenomenal human being. If you're a military member or a veteran out there and you're listening to this and you have not done recreation therapy and you're looking for a way to get back involved and engaged in your life and your community, make sure that you ask for that. And then Herman Dubois, my mentor. He believed in me when I didn't know I needed to be believed in. He put me in a position to help out other veterans, and that started my whole career to where I'm at today. So.
Thank you so much, Edwin. Derek, thank you. Jose, thank you. And we're going to look right at that camera there. And gentlemen, there's a new Disney rule. The Disney rule is when you hug somebody, don't stop until they do. Folks, thanks for joining us. Have a great time. See you. Bye.